Hi guys, Megan's just asked me to make a quick video about how I use SAFE, or how I incorporate or make sure I have a safe and inclusive classroom. So firstly, just looking at the safe classroom element. Basically, one of the first things I like to do is to incorporate a seating plan. I basically tell the students that they can go into the classroom, they can sit wherever they like. They need to prove to me that they can actually work next to and with the person that they choose to sit next to. As soon as they fail to do so, they then get moved. In that seating plan, once I present it, it will only typically have 2 or 3 people written down, and those 2 or 3 people are the ones who have shown that they cannot work together, and they will just be scattered around willy-nilly. The rest of the students can go and sit and work wherever they like. We do a lot of group work, however, so quite often those setting plans are only there initially, and then the group work will be incorporated in, whether we are making them work as a group, which is based upon their ability, or maybe it might be mixed ability. The next thing we do is to ensure we have some safety guidelines. In order to do this, we make sure we have student buy-in. So we ask the students what a safe class will look like. We ask them what it will sound like, and we get them to discuss that in groups, pairs, or threes, just whoever they're sitting with. We then get them to share those ideas with the classroom. So a safe classroom should sound like there's no put downs. It should sound like there's positive reinforcement. It should look like everyone's smiling. We should hear laughter. We should hear people be willing to share ideas. We should hear people be willing to ask questions. This sort of stuff. So those are the sort of responses that you want to be able to get. Then once we figured out what we are sort of striving to get, we will ask what are some rules that we might need to implement to ensure that we can see and hear these things going forward. So you can play on the pride principles here quite easily. Typically the things you'll get are respect, confidentiality, whereby if somebody asks a question that somebody thinks is humorous, or basically says something that people would find funny, and that they'd be embarrassed about, that they have the confidence that those things won't be shared out in the playground. Maturity is a big one, and participation is quite good. Making sure people are putting their hands up, and they are sharing, and they are being part of the activities. The respect one, sort of, if the students have respect for each other, for the classroom, for you, then that's going to be sort of the overriding thing. But yeah, you can try to sort of tease out the pride principles there quite easily. I then say to the students, okay, now we've got these rules and these expectations. What are the consequences going to be if people don't follow them? So quite often we'll have people suggesting the timeout rule should apply. 3 strikes is a pretty common one. This one works really well, so quite often I'll sort of try to tease this out of them as well. I'll say things like, "Oh, what happens in baseball? What happens in softball when somebody has a chance and they don't do very well?" Quite a lot of them will suggest withdrawal. A lot of them like to jump straight to that. It's good to reinforce here that we are a restorative school. So I typically would say that at the start, I'd say, hey, we're a restorative college. We need to make sure that we're following school policy with this, that we're having these chats. So you'll quite often end up with people wanting to apologise, people wanting to write a letter to the class to make things right, stepping up and having some sort of responsibility towards the class later. Some will suggest that they should spend some time at break, or maybe do a litter duty. Most recently, the most humorous one was where students suggested that they should have to go and spend time with their form teacher, which was Miss Hay, because apparently that's a bit of a punishment. So things like that. You sort of try to stop them after a wee giggle. But you let them share their ideas, and then you discuss and shape them into getting the restorative sort of plan that you want anyway. But they've come up with it, they feel buy-in, and they feel really good about it, and they follow these rules really well. Another way to ensure a safe classroom is to make sure you use the traffic light system regarding devices. You need to really make sure students understand this. I'm always up in red when I'm giving instructions. I'm only ever down in yellow. Very rarely am I in green, if at all. I think I've maybe been in green maybe twice ever since that system's been around. So yellow or slash orange amber colour is by far the most popular for me. Once students understand this and they see that you're going to incorporate it, then it's a no-brainer. I quite often also use it as a reward system. I'll say, oh, hey, if we work really well and we don't use our devices, then we might be able to jump on social media for a little bit. And again, it'll just go to the amber one. I won't let them have a free-for-all. So that can be a really positive tool. If it's not used, it can create a really harmful environment. With students on social media all the time, they might be sending messages to each other within the class, giving each other a hard time. Or I was recorded earlier this year by a student who went home, showed it to mum, and mum thought it was great times, and at the end of the day, that's pretty average, and we won't have that if the phones are away. So I didn't realise that I'd been recorded till the mother said something, and I passed that up the chain. At the end of the day, it doesn't really bother me. I mean, I put stuff online 24/7, but it's nice to know that I actually control that stuff. One of the other things I use is an anonymous question box. Quite often we have students who've got no idea what they're doing, but they're too hoha, they're too ashamed to put their hand up and ask and say something. So an anonymous question box is really discreet. I set it up on a QR code and I'll put a few of them around the class. So the students just have to go and scan the code and it links to a wee Google form like this one, and it doesn't even ask their name. Okay, they can put their name in there if they want, but it's just a question that they want answered for the whole class. Every now and again you'll get some silly things in there, but at the end of the day, you don't really know if it's silly or not, so I always have a go at answering them anyway. And it also gives you a bit of a chance to go through and to critique the question if you don't know the answer. Okay, so do a bit of research. So they can put that question and you can set it up so you get a notification when someone does ask something. And it's very discreet, which is the key. You right, love? Yes, we will. This is Harper. All right, the inclusive classroom. This one's going to be easy for me. I'm a little bit biased for sure. To include everyone, you really have to flip it. Flipping is the optimal example of differentiation. I'm obviously in love with it, but I think it's just something that every teacher should be doing if they really care about shaping the lessons and the content in particular for their students. The best thing I've ever done, I think, would be to show the students why. So the origami activity, where you give them the video and they've got to follow as quickly as they can to try to make the bouncing frog, and using the different colours to show different learning techniques or to show different learning issues, etc. That really, once I show students that, they understand that actually this is why some students can't learn, and this is such an awesome reason to flip, and they realise actually it's for them, and it makes a big difference, especially when you ask the students how it made them feel when they couldn't keep up. And I've had students come to me, or even just say in front of everybody, like, this is how I feel every day. And that almost brings you to tears. So once they realise that you're doing it for them and to cater for those students, they really buy into it and they go hard. At the end of the day, the main question is, what is the best use of your face-to-face class time? Is it for you to be standing up the front saying stuff they're not going to remember, or is it walking around the class helping them with the really constructive stuff, the creation stuff, making relationships, etc.? Thanks. So if you have any other questions, guys, just flick me an email there on lambertm@heretaunga.school.nz. You can jam me a question on Twitter @LBSPE, or follow our HCPE Insta page. It's pretty low key at the moment. Max is in charge and he's always posting photos of himself. So if you're keen on that, then follow that up. All right, team. Hit me up. Ka kite. See you.